Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Good to see you, Catholic Brit. Our weekend here was interesting. There we go. Had to fix the audio. It was good, don't get me wrong, but it was. So we had 3 weddings on Saturday, and then our usual 4 masses on Sunday, as well as the vigil mass on Saturday, and 5 baptisms. And our sacristan called out sick. So that was kind of an all hands, and everyone was away this weekend. Like literally everyone was out of town. So it's kind of like an all hands on deck. Everyone, the few guys still around helping out, but it was good. It was good. But yeah, before we dive in, I want to say thank you to Dragon Lady and Burly Pop. Thank you for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Hope you have a good time. But yeah, other than that, I hope everyone had a good weekend. Maybe some nice chill. It was beautiful fall weather here. But let's go ahead. Let's dive back into some Kingdom Hearts. If I press the right button. Gale has redeemed the crown of Furstendom. So last time it's been 3 weeks since we played this. I'm sorry. I don't usually like to do that, but life happens. What? Okay, computer can go to sleep when that program's running. That's good to know. My DS fell asleep. Anyway, yeah, we're doing things. We're Roxas. Only a fool bends to the cards. We shape our fates through action. What? Here, how about a change of pace? Synthesize something by combining this combo tech plus plus and a diamond. Come show me when you're done. Okay, thank you for the free stuff. I'm doing well. Where could she have gone? That's right. Our friend Xion kind of ran away. Greetings, Kupo. I want to see if I can synthesize anything with this combo plus plus. Okay, so combo tech plus plus, but it also needs to be with the diamond. Well, it doesn't look like we have a recipe for that, so I'm just gonna be hanging on to this for now. Thanks. Thanks, Luxord. Get your behind out on those missions. Ow. Here are your new missions. Stay focused. Collect hearts. Can do. Yeah, we're up to day 259. There's obviously only 358. And as we've seen, this game kind of likes to just go, we're just gonna zip along. I'm gonna turn it down just a touch. Have I ever seen the movie Velocipaster? No, I have not seen it, but I am really curious and kind of want to. Because it looks terrible, but hilarious. Oh, we have a priest who's a werewolf. No, that's too boring. Let's make him a were-dinosaur. Oh. This has been trashed. Aha! Hearts! Oh, I also went ahead and I slightly modified Roxas's layout and got him a new Keyblade. Hey, K-Max. Doing well. Rap. Doing less well now that this thing's smacking me in the face. Have me less time than usual. Gotta leave early. Gotta drive 2.5 hours for an appointment. Oof, that is rough. Safe travels. You are hot? Oh. It's beautiful here. It's like 70 degrees. You drive for this appointment every 2.5 weeks? Still, that's a lot of driving. I hope that's 2.5 for the total trip, like round trip, and not each way. You've been slaving away at this shepherd's pie? Dude, you brown the meat, you cover it in frozen corn, you cover it in instant mashed potatoes, you sprinkle it with seasoning salt, throw it in the oven. Two and a half hours there, hour 75 back. Oy. Okay, fine, you put regular mashed potatoes, but regular mashed potatoes aren't that complicated. You boil your potatoes, you throw them with a bunch of butter and milk in the in your mixer. They take time though. Gotta peel them. Why? No, don't peel your potatoes. That's where all the flavor and goodness is at. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Turn them into a supercomputer. You are just rude, giant dad man. I prefer them peeled. Well, you're allowed to be wrong. You spent like 4 hours on Ratatouille yesterday? Well, I hope it was good and worth it. The game is still a little loud. You're right, we are both allowed to be wrong, because the correct way to eat potatoes is raw. Like an apple. Super specific type of chiropractor. That would do it. That's just, oh, that's a lot of driving in one day. I hope there's like some good food or something out there where you're like, I can do this appointment and then I can get this Indian restaurant that I really like. Yeah, I've been doing it with... Oof, that is... Yeah, no, that's better. Dear loudmouths, you guys are obnoxious. Not as obnoxious as the giant armors, though. Because they just have so much health. And it's such a pain to fight them. They're worse than regular big bodies. What food would be worth a 2.5 hour drive? Depends on the food, I suppose. Just good quality food. I went to this really nice German restaurant last weekend up at Lake George. So I guess you could say that was worth the 3 hour drive to get to the Lake George area. Admittedly, I was also staying there. Hey, Mel. Now, the one problem I had with this restaurant, though, is its subtitle was a pure German restaurant, and it's like, I don't know if I'd have chosen pure German, personally. Just... Usually I just eat a frozen meal when you get home. Ooh. There's a restaurant out there I'd like to go for dinner, but I dropped so much money on car stuff this weekend. Oh, that's rough. No! Why do you have to fall in such a weird position where I can't smack your face? You attempt to get it anyway. What is it? Like, Fazoli's? Is it Fazoli's? Please don't tell me it's the Olive Garden. Cue much wailing and gnashing of teeth. Came in from the sun already. It's oppressive. Figured you vacuum lines and pictures and diagrams. But then found an errant turbo oil line, presented it to my dad, said, I think you might actually do this one wrong. Oh no! And after discovering the bolt locked into place. This music is more repetitive than Bippity Boppity Boo and BBS. Is it? I think it's probably just sounds a little worse because it's a little crunchy. Just because, okay, that has a really nice, limit break. Well, time to run. You hear it more. That's fair. But then again, I don't know. I listen to this soundtrack just on its own, so. I have not had Fazoli's in years, and I think I'm okay with that. And I know I am spoiled when it comes to Italian in New York City, admittedly. Like, all the mob-run restaurants. I mean, legitimate business fronts. Alice in Wonderland is your brainworm? You hate to have to come in after being out only for 30 minutes, but Dad wants me to get on the car 2-point lines to... I have to sit in the passenger wheel while in direct sunlight without your umbrella. Ugh. Hey, Michael's of Brooklyn is legit, I think. They're all up front. The previous pastor is convinced that the Italian chain, or not chain, but the Italian restaurant just down the street from us is a mob front. And I find that funny for some reason, because he has nothing to go off of except for, like, vibes. And, like, no one else agrees with him. We used to have a front. Oh, did the Mormon Mafia shut down? If they never do any business but somehow stay open with skeleton staff, it's a front. Yeah. See, those places are obvious, but Masseria is like an actually like good upscale restaurant. But it's deceptive, and that's what makes him think there's something just slightly off about it to him. Oh wow, Chad's been so busy, I didn't even see the Rotunda. Still plenty of fronts in Ogden. Well, that's Ogden. They don't have anything better to do. Anyway, today is the Feast of St. Peter Claver. He was a Jesuit and a missionary in Colombia working with the slaves. And he is reported as having baptized 300,000 people. And was a very staunch advocate of the rights of the slaves. and that they should be freed. And yet, nothing systematically changed in his lifetime. But did afterwards. He's had a lasting impact. I mean, there's the Knights of Peter Claver and other organizations, but on other levels, like, yeah, his work led to the freedom of so many people. So, you know, we should strive to do the same. The gospel is one of freedom and liberation. And yes, I know liberation theology is a complicated reality and kind of a bad word. I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm just talking about the reality that the gospel frees us from sin and systems of sin. Yeah, it's like 82 people a day. Yeah, it's... And that's not... Crumble is a problem for labor laws. Oh, well, I'm never buying from Crumble again, apparently. Don't tell me I have to take this thing out, too. I'm so close, but I've already been everywhere else. Lagoon is a problem for labor laws? Yeah. But... The cookie chain Crumble? Yeah, apparently. Yeah, the Knights of Peter Claver. Yeah, they were founded for that reason, which is unfortunate, but also they do amazing stuff. So it's kind of super providential that they exist in their own right. Utah's just a problem. Can't confirm, having spent 22 years of my life there. They will not get rid of the zoo because it's taxed differently. Ah, that makes sense. That is horrible, because that zoo is not appropriate at all. It's like 10-foot by 10-foot cages housing tigers and lions with, like, a ball as enrichment. Anyway, Burkadoo. Whoop, hold on. I don't want to die. Let's activate a Cura to... So, excuse me! He can stun lock me. Anyway, why did Jesus touch him and use his spit when he can heal him? Well, I think there's just significance in general of the power of touch. You know, you talk about the love languages, and one of them being physical touch. But the spit is kind of like tying Jesus's mouth to the mouth of this guy, sharing his ability, is one take I've heard. I hit dodge roll. How does it compare to Tiger King 1? Well, there's less murder. No, get in there. Oh my goodness. I've been trying to come up with an excuses for these recently, but it's really just I have points and enjoy the wheel. Good. Well, after we defeat this solid armor, we'll spin the wheel. Thank you for the 300 bits, Sub-Zero. Less drugs, you hope? Well, I mean, it is Utah. Take of that what you will. Is insanity that you are grinding for an item that basically becomes useless pretty quickly in this Castlevania game? Yes. Yeah, that's... If it's going to become useless, then why are you grind for it? Luck is programmed wrong? Is it like a mistake wrong, or is it just... Is wrong a judgment statement here? Thank you for the bits. Hashtag sarcasm. No, I'm genuinely thankful for the bits. They help keep this going. Wheel of something. Turn, turn, turn. Brew candy. Which one is that? Hoppy IPA. It's the soap one. Isn't Hoppy IPA redundant? No, not necessarily, because, like, IPAs are hoppy, but then, like, you can go super hoppy with them. Anyway, you can see that it's green if the camera will readjust. There we go. It's a mistake wrong. Ah, okay. It's not even hoppy. It's, it kind of has this weird acridness. But so not good. Workadoo too. So a number required for your sins to be absolved when confessing mortal sins, i.e. the kind and number thing. If you don't say the number, but the priest says, I absolve you, are your sins forgiven? Yes, if you have brought forward your sins, so we believe in matter and form as like a moral theological and just like sacramental theology component. The matter, your sins, they have been confessed. The form, absolution. We have matter, we have form. The sacrament is valid and licit. Axel could have shown up at least. Yeah, and there's a benefit to talking about like how much you've done a certain thing, so like a priest can get a sense of like, is this habitual? Is this ingrained? Et cetera, et cetera. But like that's not fully essential, and it's not like you're hiding something. Why did that taste like milk? Oh. This candy's terrible. A rare heartless called an Emerald Serenade. Go with Zigbar. Okay. And ultimately, God forgives our sins as he sees them, not as we see them. Wash out the flavor with milk? I don't want the flavor of milk there in the first place with this candy. That's the problem. I quite like milk. Milk is delicious. I drink a glass or two or 7 a day. But just randomly having a hoppy beer candy and then all of a sudden be like, haha, the flavor of milk. It's not a welcome experience. Never said never because it wasn't really taught to. So every some people say it's required. It's in the taught formula, if you will, like in the ritual itself, and like there's an expectation, but again, like as a confessor, I don't need to know if it was 2 or 3 times. You know, if it's something that it's more that sense of like is this something that's deeply ingrained, or is this a one-off? And like that, there's a difference between how you approach those sacramentally, spiritually, to help overcome them in a life of prayer. But God knows, God knows the number. If that number is going to be a barrier between you and receiving the sacrament, then I'd rather you not say the number. Milk with ice? Why, Roxy? Only watered down milk with coffee? I think that's an interesting coffee-milk ratio. Beer candy reminds me, if one applies the Roman approach to syncretation to beer, then English folk hero Charles Mops is an aspect of Mesopotamian goddess Ninkasi. I have no idea what to make of this, but it amuses me. That's a lot of words, and I'm not entirely sure what to make of it myself, because the Romans hated beer and looked down on anyone who didn't drink wine. Yeah, if you say it's been 7 years since my last confession, the priest can kind of infer it's like... Amazingly, we are trained in these sort of things. Yeah, and sometimes we ask because it's helpful for us when giving, like, that section of, like, advice to be able to know. It's like, oh, okay, this is something habitual. You need advice for the long term, or you just messed up once and you did something, and you need comfort. Sir, it's been a long time I've been scared, but I want back in the church and to have communion. Then I cried, was absolved, and left. That sounds beautiful. Painful, weird, and difficult, but beautiful. I say milk without ice because ice chills by... No, you... Milk and ice in a blender? Make a milk smoothie? I'm now tempted to try that, and I hate it. Oh, what cursed thing my mind hath wrought this day. Milk smoothie. That's what 7 I want car running. So I can go back in. Yeah, you can. Milkshake without the good parts. Exactly. Or a milkshake from, oh, what's the, Potbellies. That's kind of how they make their milkshakes. It's basically like soft serve ice cream and ice in a blender. They're interesting. I like the extra chill of milk with ice. How do I say this politely? I'm not surprised, K-Max? Should I have that be a sub-goal now? I will make a milk smoothie. I don't even know if we have a blender. Oh wait, no, yeah, no, I have an immersion blender I could use. No pizza smoothie, K-Max. Chorizo ice cream sounds like a good flavor. I feel like I've heard of worse. Just milk on the rocks. Here, bring your stream out on your phone so your father can hear this. Hi, Milk Dad. I'm sure this is perfectly normal content. Where's that? Emerald Serenade. There it is. No, you get back here, sir. You stay on one level and you like it. Why would the dragon ever land? To eat us. And this is not a dragon. It's not even fighting. It's just... It's Wicked Witch of the Westing. We are all normal and have no strange opinions or conversations. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, this is still Twitch. The dragon knows its superiority. It doesn't need to engage with the party. Osmotic absorption of gold. Can't get enough holding the metal against itself. The kind of nonsense that we say here makes it more fun when I'm preparing bills to send to clients. That's valid. This fight is boring. There's a person who thinks they're a deer that is one of the major people of Twitch. Well, there you go. Skill issue? No, look, this thing's just on a very boring pattern. Is just... You can only engage with it for a little bit, and by the time you catch back up to it, it's taking off. Why doesn't the nobody with the guns just shoot it? Because Xigbar is useless. But Xigbar might be the Master of Masters. No, he's not. He's Lushu. He's the assistant to the Master of Masters. But he has no idea what he's actually doing. Oh, also spoilers, I suppose, but you know what? This story's so complicated that probably meant nothing. Unless you know the story already. No. That's not Lushu with an X. Luxu. And yes, he does turn into Braig, who turns into Xigbar. It's basically implied that Lushu keeps reincarnating. Or taking over other people's bodies to keep living throughout time. Okay, now I'm near my dad. Oh, okay. So I'll only talk about normal things, guys. Perfectly normal things. Hi, Mel's dad. Oh my goodness, it keeps just like... See, the way it tumbles away, too, makes it hard to hit. What is the Master of Masters' goal? Great question. Next question. To cause the plot? But he doesn't even! He causes the plot of a later game that hasn't even happened yet. Literally, you could take the Master of Masters out of the equation, and nothing changes in the plot. But it might have happened if it's a prequel. It was where will have been already happening. What is Xehanort's actual plan? Man, I'm not ready to talk about Xehanort's actual plan right now. We don't even know what a Xehanort is from this perspective of stream. We'll talk about that later. He says hello. Told him we're arguing about ice and milk. He said, nothing wrong with that. Wait, Kingdom Hearts has a plot? Yes, P-Tony. Hello, good to see you. And yes, it does in fact actually have a plot. It's just very dumb and confusing, and I love it anyway. No, have you ever had like milk that like was kept in the freezer and then put in the fridge but didn't fully thaw, and you go and you put it into your cereal in the morning and it's like got chunks of icy milk? That's not good. That's not good stuff. If you drink it fast enough, it's fine. If you don't, it's 1%. What's a Xehanort? Is that a dessert, basically? Hey, Breedy Bard, good to see ya. Or as they say in your parts, hoi! 1% sucks, whole for life. Don't hate on 1%, I'm a hate on 1% and skim. Xehanort is both solipsistic and lonely. I mean, I think most people who are solipsistic are actually very lonely when you think about it. Ice keeps milk cold, but are you putting it in? That you could have the ice on the outside of the glass of the milk to keep it cool. Shion, Axel, where are you? You've never had previously frozen milk? Consider yourself lucky. It is nasty. Which is now what I think I'm getting up to with my milk smoothie idea. And yet I still feel like I need to push forward on it. The best part of your parents' divorce was getting whole milk for the first time in your life. Never went back. Nice. This bull seems pay to win. Yeah, it's capitalism. So backtracking what started this. How's that hoppy beer-flavored candy going? It's gone now, thanks be to God. It always has this like salty phase right towards the end too, which is the worst. Capitalism is the best way to find truth. Sure. Oh, thank you, Step Zero, for 300 more bits. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. That's twice in one stream. Thank you. Oh, that's so generous and so kind. Hot take: I grew up on skim. Don't drink anymore. 2% is best. But I drink 1% because it's cheaper. I mean, it is cheaper and like lower calories and lower fat. Like those are all valid. But flavor-wise, whole. All right, don't worry. I've got a con coming up. I can't afford to keep spamming with bits. Well, that's good, I guess. Poperindo! All right, Sub-Zero, I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want tamarind, mango, extra picante, or sandia? Try taking your coffee with whole milk again. Barista accidentally made a latte wrong the other day, and now you're hooked? Yes. Well, I like Gail's vote, but it's Sub-Zero's candy, so... Chocolate or strawberry milk? Chocolate, of course. Can't believe there'd be another option. I don't know what that last one is, but I hate mango with a passion, so mango it shall be. I love mango. Mango is great. We've been getting some fresh mango and at the house on our fruit plate at dinner. So good. Sandia, by the way, is watermelon. Now there will be less mango in the world. Ooh. So, look how bright and colorful that packaging is. Now this one's interesting because it's like super mango-y on the outside, and then just like the inside is just like, surprise, tamarind. Hey, Mel, thank you for the resub. Yeah, it's just like, it's nice, sweet, mango-y, and then in the middle, it'll just be like, all of a sudden, haha, I have been tamarind all along. Anyway, find out what is causing this dearth of Heartless. Okay, go smack things. The only time I'll have a collar. Fair. They're collars in support. The mango flavor on this is honestly really good. Huh? Where'd all those weird balloons go? Wait, I'm restoring the town's Heartless. That seems wrong. Oh, Mel! 300 bits from you as well. Thank you. Oh, okay. Well, no balloons here either, or Heartless. There's gotta be some explanation. Oh, look, a little Heartless. Oh, look, a terrifying hand! Oh, that's the thing from before! Nearly on level 2 of a hype train. Nice. Oh! Sir, that is not okay. It eats Heartless? All right, Mel, here's your spin. Tahine Gummy Bears. It's a mechanical hill. It sure is. So I'm gonna, because I can't really chew the gummy bear and have the Pulparindo, I'm gonna wait on those. I was one of other. No, seeing gummy bears aren't the worst. If you land on bacon candy, then I probably don't like you anymore. You know when sometimes you have a sour candy, it makes your jaw seize up? Or is that just me? Is that just a me thing? Am I secretly just allergic to citric acid? I would be so heartbroken if that were the case. Anyway, the juice of this just went past my jaw and made it kind of clamp for a moment. You see, I don't even inflict bacon candy when I can afford to pick the candy. I just aim for the super sour. More are coming in the mail. They were supposed to be here this week. They had to be sent by Royal Mail. It's not just you. Well, that could make it a genetic thing. That doesn't necessarily narrow it down. You get back here and take your beating like you like it. Surprise tamarind. New line of weird seasonal Brock's candies have been released? Ooh, tell me more. That's what started this whole weird candy thing. What are those things? What kind of creature feeds on Heartless? An even bigger Heartless. Guess that explains the drop in the Heartless population. Maybe I should see what's happening outside of town. Mellow cream caramel apples. One of those things would have been fine. But both of them together, I'm terrified. Gonna hop off so you can leave soon. All right, safe travels. How thought about picking up those today? Haven't seen the Nerds candy corn yet. Nerds candy corn? Excuse me. I'm gonna have to go to my CVS that carries this weird stuff. For whatever reason, the CVS on 57th and 8th carries has a huge seasonal candy selection. Tiny regular candy selection, but huge seasonal. Anyway, I owe Mel some Tahine gummy bears. You had the apples last year, they were bad? Oh, good. Well, that means I have to get them. And I saw something that looked like a leaf the other day in the Halloween candy. Just as long as they don't bring back the seasonal candy corn flavors, those were so bad. Okay, I can't reach in and grab these because then my hand's going to be really sticky. The mellow cream you love in your favorite fall flavors. The Autumn Leaves candy features caramel apple, pumpkin spice, sweet maple, salted butterscotch, and spiced cedar. Well, I know where I'm going after stream today, and I hate it. I could use chopsticks. I actually just happen to have a pair of chopsticks in my office. Oh, wait, no, it's chopstick. I used one to do something, so I have a single chopstick. Let's see if this works. This stream has become unhinged. And we're what? Oh, not even an hour yet. I hate that kind of works. Use a knife? What knife? Those bears sound good. They're not terrible. They're stale now, and I don't recommend that. But they picked really nice flavors because it's like orange, pineapple, apple, strawberry, and lemon. So they're all things that work well with tahine. Like, tahine's good, but it's just like... Okay, no, that's not working. Do I not have a pocket knife? No! He hates that. Once again, Gale is correct. The voice of a generation. You are not the voice of a generation. Oh, they're still stale. That's kind of the worst part about them being on the wheel at this point, is they're just a physical pain to eat. Run away! I told you not to pick that thing up! How was I supposed to know it would grow? Where are they running from? Replace the expired gelatinous or porcelain blobs with strange leaves? No, those stay. We just add them to the wheel. Is this Teen Girl Squad? I don't know what you're talking about. The ugly one. Well, one thing at a time. Let's face it, Teen Girl Squad voices fit Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Oh, that was just a weird, like... You know the umami-ness of tahine? Since it's a spice blend, it has like an earthiness to some of it. I just got like a huge whiff of that for no reason. I call the ugly one. was about to say, I don't think Floofs would appreciate being called the ugly one. Okay, some of those flavors don't work together. Apple, tahini, lemon, pineapple all at once is kind of a lot. It is so hot. I'm sorry. May it cool off to a reasonable 80 degrees. Roxas, can you hit this? Please. You keep swinging, you're just like, I'm gonna swing around it. If you think it's too hot, come to New York instead. It's like again, it's like 70 degrees out right now. It's been 55 in the mornings. It's super nice and fall-like, which is weird because it's still the summer. These things hit boxes and their architecture is just wrong enough to be a pain in every way. It's only 86 in the sun, but no breezes. Ugh. There we go. Time to find out what's back there. I cannot take the hill, because Roxas has no idea what it is or how it works. This area is very well done. Like, I think the Spiral Hill one's a little small, but this one actually feels right, even though it is much smaller. Didn't get over 80 degrees yesterday. I guess Brutality of Hot Summer is over. You say that now! You have tempted Bad Roxy into retrieving candy from the pantry. How dare you, Gale? Hello. Oh, that's not okay. The Leech Grave. I'm sorry, you just did what? Not gonna lie, this boss design is really cool. It looks like Alucard's coughing a little bit. Oh, this fight. Yeah, this fight. It looks cool at least, so. Oh, cool. That just completely goes under it. No, quit. No, bad. I'll just focus on this. Nope. Oh, I forgot to restock my potions. Oh, this could go poorly. It's weird and eating you. Definitely Alucard. I mean, definitely vampiric. It could be his dad. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be surviving this one. Wrong Alucard. Well, how am I supposed to know? There's like 7. How am I supposed to know which weird fictional character you're talking about with a lazy name? Yeah, I think we just need to come back with a bit more healing items. But then again, maybe not. Which Alucard are you what series? Devil May Cry? I feel like Devil May Cry would have an Alucard. Hellsing? I've never watched an anime in my life. Okay, we might be able to do this. No, no. It's my turn to sunlock you. Yes! Let's go! You once cosplayed the police girl. In which Dracula helped the Anglican Church fight vampires and also sets off trouble with Rome. Sure. Mission accomplished. Time to RTC. A black coat, dark, creepy tentacles? Yes, 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 I've got it! Can I get back to town this way? No, they took that shortcut out in this version. Hellsing is an interesting one. I'll take your word for it. I've honestly just never gotten around to watching it. So, also good to see you, Beer Fox. Apparently the backstory of Nightmare Before Christmas has some notes about Oogie Boogie's being resentful that his holiday got replaced by Halloween, called Bug Day. Huh. Nope, nope, no. Very gory, very violent. That's why I stopped watching other anime. Not like in general, but like sometimes certain ones are like, nope. I know Oogie Boogie comes back in the the closest thing to a sequel Nightmare Before Christmas has, which is the GBA game. There, it's perfect, wouldn't you say, Doctor?
Yes, it's quite something.
A harbinger of terror and torment. .75mm cannon. Oh my goodness. How stealthy and clever. It appears out of nowhere with spooky black tendrils growing out of its hands. Under its cloak, it conceals a countless battery of bombs. A fiend like this is guaranteed to plunge everyone into the very depths of fear.
Fascinating. And you plan to make this the centerpiece of next Halloween?
Oh yes, the idea occurred to me just moments ago.
Well, you have my full support. Quite a novel idea you've come up with this time, Jack.
I'm glad you like it. I can't wait to get busy building more of them. Well, I guess Oogie's Revenge... Okay, it was also on the PS2, but I have the GBA version. It's you, Roxas. Is this thing supposed to be me? Okay. I'm really not seeing it. No, I want RTC. I want to get rid of this beeping. The GBA game is a prequel. Okay, see, I did not know that.
Trick or treat!
What? You fall for this every time!
We got you.
Again? Ugh, they haven't changed a bit. Ooh, three Kiraga. Ooh, and that helps recover my comrades. That's pretty good, actually. I might replace my Cura with that. Day 276, Disorder. So I guess this implies that the beach they always go to get shells is in fact Destiny Islands, which is just like such a random thing.
Xion!
Surely, you must have known that this was going to happen.
Why would I know?
Because in your memory, you've been to a number of worlds before you came to this one. And of course, in those worlds, the only beings you met with the Dark Arbiter. That's all that's left in your heart. The darkest memories. Your memories of long gone. Everyone.
That's a lie. I remember everyone from the islands. They're my closest friends.
And who threw away those friends? Maybe it's your own actions you've forgotten.
I thought you didn't have a heart on account of being a nobody. Hold a great big pin in that. Because it turns out nobodies have hearts.
What am I here for?
I wasn't sure I'd see you again. You made me promise. Not to look after Sora. I remember. I'm sorry. I'm not sure I've kept that promise very well. What happened? Some of Sora's memories are missing. How can that be? They're escaping through Sora's nobody into a third person. And now they're starting to become a part of her. You can't get the memories back out? If they're still separate, then yes, I think so. But if they join with her memories, things could get a lot more complicated. I would need to untangle her memory before I could finish Sora's. What was supposed to take months might take years. Diz would be furious. So what's the solution? If I try to jump in and rearrange her memory, then I risk Sora waking up to find out that nobody remembers him anymore. I can't do that to him. It's too late either way. His awakening will have to be delayed. I never imagined Sora's nobody and the other one would fight so hard to be their own people. Unfortunately, the only real solution is for them to both go away. Did you know her face was blank at first? Only now can you see someone. That proves some of Sora's memories are inside her. Some inside her, some inside Sora, others inside Sora's nobody. I can't sort it out anymore. All I can do is pick up the pieces once what has been done is done. All right.
Is it that I'm not supposed to exist?
Well, what do you want to do, Xion?
I want to be with you two.
Then come back with us.
Oh, you know Nording's a
I
thing?
can't. Not the way I am now. But what would it take for me to be like you?
I mean, it runs in the family. Wow, you're actually up here. Been that long, huh? I got to go to the beach today for my mission. There's this girl there that looked kind of like Xion. But I couldn't get close enough to tell for sure. I probably imagined it. To be honest, I'm not even sure today's mission really happened. I feel like I just woke up from a dream or something. This is gonna sound crazy. But you know how we promised each other we'd all go to the beach? Well, I think I only saw her there because I wanted her to be there. Huh, you wanna go look for her? What? Huh? But Xemnas' orders. Orders schmorders. Starting tomorrow, let's use our spare time between work and coming here to try and find Xion. Okay, yeah, it's a deal. Searching. Okay, I want to take a moment to talk about that scene because I think there's a lot going on there that's actually kind of really interesting and helps advance the story. And yeah, the story is inherently convoluted and dumb, and I will fully own and admit that. But so when Roxas is at the beach there, he sees another nobody who, if you remember, is named Zexion. Zexion fought Riku in the his side of what's it called? Chain of Memories, Rechain of Memories. Riku ultimately defeated him, but so Roxas was kind of seeing into that fight and having this because all the memories are chained together, as corny as it is to use the title of the game. But that's an important thing. So we also get some interesting red herrings. Because we get a bit, there's the flash where it's kind of Shion is lying on the ground, and then it cuts and it's Riku in the same place, and it's like, oh, well, Riku fell to darkness, so I guess it would make sense that he would have a nobody. No, actually, Riku never became a Heartless, so he doesn't have a nobody. But they play that as a red herring. I think it's a cool red herring. And they also kind of play with the idea of, like, what if it's actually Kairi's nobody? What if Shion is Kairi's nobody? But we know that's not the case because we know that that's Naminé. Naminé is her nobody. But we now know that Shion is some sort of vessel, for lack of a better word, taking on these memories unintentionally, kind of siphoning them off, which is sort of making an emergent property of an identity rooted in Sora ultimately, and kind of a reflection of Sora, and thus making all of this more complicated. And Naminé is buying into the whole narrative that these people should not even exist. So that's kind of what was going on in that scene. Those are the parts I think are important, and I think it is that was one for me was kind of a big turning moment in the plot of, like, oh, okay, they're kind of playing with some bigger ideas. Is it perfect? No, but I think that one kind of has some interesting metaphysical ideas around the role of memory and identity. You know, and like Sora cannot wake up to a world that does not know him, because his whole thing is his friends are his power. If his friends don't know him, he's powerless. So they need to know him. Oh, Roxas, man, you gotta help me out. With Shion gone, all our extra work's been coming to me. I totally have zero time to find all the Heartless hiding in Mission 62. You know the drill. Go up there. Any fishy spots? Did I do it? Okay, apparently not. Cue Goofy, wake me up inside. Wake me up! I'll go look for her after work today. You do the same. Up to something? You have a terrible poker face. Can't read my poker face. Gale has redeemed a father joke. This is a perfect one for you, Gale. What do you call an espresso with a cold? A coffee. Wait, I missed it. Say it one more time. What do you call an espresso with a cold? A coffee. I might actually be able to put out some... Let's put this magic level 2 thing out. Put that there. Is that a... I'm going to remove some Kiras. Put Kiraga in their place. That is terrible. It's a father joke. What else would you people expect? I hate to break it to you, but if you were coming here for a father joke that is genuinely funny, they do happen. But not often. Okay, so I have high potion, cure. Let's set Kiraga to 1 and Kiraga to another. Dang, I was actually not buying from limited run games because they're kind of scummy, but they're releasing Castlevania Skies of Arcadia stuff. Gotta make our choices on how we stand on our principles. I have a giant weakness for Skies of Arcadia. I've heard good things. I've never gotten around to it. Doesn't it have a movie? Why is this treasure chest? Okay, it's not. It just looks like it was already open. You actually like that joke? Well, that's good. I'm glad someone liked it. I keep yearning for a re-release, not a remaster, a re-release. That's, I feel like, gonna be a more rare thing.
You're finished.
No! I got dumpstered. I was in the middle of healing. What's faster, hot or cold? Hot. Because you can always catch a cold. Alright, I gotta mow the lawn. Is that in response to Nell's joke? You read a joke like that and you're like, nope, I'm gonna mow the lawn instead. I got stun locked. I beat that boss. To be fair, it's your dad's joke. Then it's a real dad joke. He has a million. Yeah, he's the dad. It just kind of happens, you know. Guys get married just all of a sudden, especially if once they have a kid, it's just there's no going back. Oh, that's interesting. It creates a healing zone.
Let's even up the deck.
Why can I not cast? I'm trying to cast Firaga. It just wasn't doing anything. Is it because the Kiraga zone was still active? Also, good job, Zigbar. You have fallen down. Where are you? Or are you just gone? Oh, there you are. You just respawned. What has 5 toes and is not your foot? My foot. That's, yep. I cannot argue with that. I don't really want to. What do you call an alien with no eyes? Alan? Alan. Good job, Bluxer. You fell asleep again. Now get up. Come help me. These guys just have a ludicrous amount of health. What do you call spider with 9 eyes? Spider. Okay. That's cool, I guess. Dad says that you did that well. Well, I don't tell dad jokes, but I do tell father jokes, and they're very closely related. I'm getting tired of fighting these things. I'm going to see if I can go somewhere else. Nope. This is literally it. It is just this arena that I'm allowed to go to this level. Okay, but these things keep respawning, it seems. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe there's just a set amount of them. That would be unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Let's see if I can keep this one separated, though. Nope. The other one came here. Uh-oh, here comes more. What do you call a dog with no legs? I don't know. What do you call a dog with no legs? It doesn't matter. He ain't coming. That's awful. Oh my goodness, that's an anti-joke right there. I did laugh. My laughing does not mean it's not a terrible joke. Okay, we got enough. We're going. That fight was stupid anyway. Oh, look, he's looking. Two thumbs down. Would not recommend that fight. I think the prayers worked. A bit of breeze seems to be picking up. Hey, let's go. Eliminate the deserters. Okay. We'll do this mission, then we'll take a break. I think Beer Fox probably had the best prayers for you, given that he's also in Texas, I think. He was like, please, freeze for me. Where's the new paperweight? If by new paperweight you mean referring to my old computer. Because I built a new computer this weekend. And what do I do as the inaugural stream with it to really tax its abilities? I play Kingdom Hearts. One day you'll go and get barbecue with them. One day. Not currently, but yes, we live in the same geographical region. Maybe go to church together. There you go. Everyone strangers on the internet were dangerous. Yeah, it's... I think a lot of that's still ingrained in a lot of our generation, and rightfully so to a certain degree. But social media has really messed with that formula. You know, never give your location, your face, and your name. Social media. Hey, put all those out publicly. No? I'm gonna go with no. What? I just got kicked in the face. Like, out of nowhere. Like, I was doing fine, and then just... Haha, surprise, my foot! Online communities have become very good at self-moderation. That is very true. But it's still just wild that, you know, we grew up being told stranger danger, never reveal your name, your face, your location online. Admittedly, as children, like, that's still good advice. Or for children, it's still good advice. But now, like, social media is like, okay, well, upload a photo of yourself. What's your full address? What year did you graduate high school? You know, ASL. Oh, you know some ASL as well? Some sign language? Of the American variety? Yeah, call someone from the internet and get in their car. I've been meeting internet strangers for a long time now. Literally told my EVE Online core mates where my house was so I could get this cat and we could go out to lunch. Nice. Still don't know his name. That sounds like a real internet friendship right there. When, like, you've met someone, like, you've done something to take care of them. And you're like, I don't know, his name might be Steve or Josh or Ben, I don't know. I know that Canada, US, and Mexico all use the same ASL as part of NAFTA. No, they don't. Was your British name start with lady, your mother's maiden name, and the city where you were born, plus ton? No. You forgot the middle name where you put in your credit card information. You know, you gotta put in your full credit card number as well as those funny little numbers on the back. Unless you have American Express, then you put those funny little numbers on the front.
Say I didn't warn you.
You know what? I don't feel like fighting this invisible. Let's go. Return to the castle? Yeah, I'll bring this thing back with me. Well, I'll beat it up. Lord Wheat Bridgerton? Oh, we're so close to leveling up. I know his well, yeah, I hope you know his online name. So, all right, we're gonna take a commercial break. So go ahead, stretch your legs, get up, get a drink of water, and we will be right back. And we are back. So I feel like I got something this last fight that I wanted to put on, but Yeah, I'm forgetting all my buttons. Ooh, we got another air slide level. What do you mean? Oh, that's glide, that's why. Meow. 5. I don't think I have anywhere where I could put that yet. We're getting close, though. Ah, but another glide level is good. Auto life I want to hang on to. So I don't want to use it up. Depart for your missions. Hey, Artemithril. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Person get funny late. Egg for the health of Edgelord 5S. That's fair, but that is wonderful and great in its own way. Giant unidentified heartless. Great. Made up names are so funny. Yeah. I love it. I mean, to be fair, I mean, a couple... It's how I know all y'all. It's like a couple of you, it's like I might know your real name because of you've competed on Game of Favorites, but other than that, it's like, I don't know. I'm doing, I guess. Oh, well. You can come chill and chat. We've been having a bit of a silly day. All alone today, are you? What is Evan a made-up name? Oh, well, there's the great question, isn't it? Rainbow Unicorns. Also good to see you, Rainbow. Look, did you have something to tell me? Because if not... You might say I do, or you might say I don't. What do you say? You can use some silly... Well, you're in the right place, then. I say, see you around. I've got work to do. I have to go. Ah, but go where? To see the large shadow, perhaps? There's a Heartless here? Indeed, but to find this shadow, you must scour the shade. I know that Father Evan on Twitch isn't the guy I met in real life, because the guy I met in real life had longer hair. I mean, I had longer hair on stream up until I didn't. And legs. I can neither confirm nor deny. It's nearly here now. Are you quite prepared? If not, well, goodbye. Weird little thing. I love streams and games with the voice acting. If the streamer does the voices, well, I have fun with the voices. That's... I don't consider myself a voice actor by any means, but you know what? I love just going for it and just being like, Brandon, there's 2 of them! It's just cheating. Excuse me, my good sirs, I did not ask for this. 2x2 hands of blue, or are you missionaries of the darkness? Hello, would you like a free book about darkness? Or they're just gonna stun lock me into the corner. That's cool too. Also, these Crimson Pranksters have less health than the blue dudes we were fighting in the last level. Like, 2 of these dudes combined is like one of the blue dudes. Okay, that's one down. I will get back to you, my good sir. I saw treasure chests. Oh no, they can revive each other? Oh, this got so much worse. I guess the strategy then is to get one close to being down and then switch to the other one. That was cruel. It was. Oh no, that was cruel. Lighting me on fire in a corner like that. No one puts baby Roxas in a corner. Nobody. Now I'm out of cures. That's cool. Next time I'm at the castle, I'm gonna check if I can get a better Keyblade. Because I feel like I'm a little underpowered here. Okay, switch to the other one. I don't want to get them separated, so I don't accidentally smack the one. Dear Roxas, please get better at hitting your targets when you're in the air. Love, Father Evan. Because you gotta sign your letters. It's rude to not sign your letters. Thrilling gameplay. Bad Rocks would never be able to win. Bad Rocks, you can't beat one of these. These games have the worst titles. What, you don't like the easily solvable fraction? No, you do not. No. Okay, well, at least it just combined into one, and it just goes to its current max health, which is not a lot. Whew. Something, don't use fire. Yeah, I still think the worst title is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories Reverse Rebirth. But good to see you, Visual Eminem. Hope you're doing well. I don't know why we got such a deluxe cutscene of that heart. Bravo, bravo. The shadows no more, even it can't shine in the light. Terrible boss fights, yeah, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with playing on easy mode. So, who are you anyway? If you're gonna help me, why talk in riddles? You're a friend or an enemy? I'm a frenemy! Neither or both. It's quite up to you. Like I said, he's a frenemy. Up to me? Why yes, once you believe the truth and the lie are quite the same thing. Let your heart decide, it's in your heart you must confide. What? $358 over 2 is less than half a year. Well, actually... So, it is confusing and it is stupid, but the over 2 means that it's 2 people, is what it's referring to. It's referring to Roxas and Shion. Huh, easy for him to say. How am I supposed to do that when I don't even have a heart? I have no idea what to believe in. Oh. I would trust the cat. That's a choice. I don't know if I'd trust the Cheshire Cat. But I don't know if I'd trust all these people in these black robes. It just seems a little... Did Disney make an Adventure in Wonderlust movie? Yeah, it was like one of Disney's first movies in the 50s or so. It's a classic. Zoom! 296. Confessions. Oh, are they getting ready for their first communion? That's probably not that kind of confession. Let's give Roxas this level. And in fact, make it 3 levels. I've seen very few classic animated films. Ah. Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. Keep running wild and somebody might have to throw a leash on you. You're the ones who are sending me everywhere. Why that arbitrary number? Okay, so you see how the day started? It said day 296, and it says that on the lower screen here. It's because every mission takes a day, and the game ends on 358. And it's over the course of 2, because it's 2 people's lives over the course of the 358 days. If you have time to gawk, go collect some treasure chests. Based on your mission count, you should have found at least 240 or so by now. Comes to me when you filled that quota. I bet I have. Only 232. Wow. High demands. I'll look again after work today and see if I can find her. Greetings, Kubo. Have a look at my wares, Kubo. Ooh, a slot releaser. Go ahead, buy that. Anything... I don't really have anything very good in the weapons. I could make a champion gear. You have the collection? Nice. So Crisis Gear, versatile in both strength and magic. Rage is longer ground and aerial combos, and Champion, high strength and ground speed combos. But I don't know which entries they actually are, except for Kingdom Hearts 3. That's fair. Figuring out the order is complicated. Because do you go chronologically? Release order? I prefer to go like through a certain chronological from 1 through 2, then do Birth by Sleep as a flashback, and then Coded, Dream Drop 3. Yeah, 2.5 remix, 2.8 final mix. Yeah, it's complicated. Gosh, I don't know which one to go with. I think I'm gonna, out of the 3 of these, because the problem is they don't tell you their stats ahead of time. So like part of me is tempted to take the Crisis Gear Plus because it is the most expensive. But also the Crisis Gear is the one that we're currently using, and it's kind of short. The Champion Gear supposedly has good combos, but the Rage Gear also apparently has good combos in both the air and ground. I think I'm going to go with the Champion Gear. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, so currently this is providing us about 50. Champion Gear, 65. All right. So no magic. It's fine, because my magic is 94. It's actually pretty powerful. A little bit defense, not as much, but throw on 2 power units, an ability unit, and a magic unit. Let's go ahead and save. Okay, not the longest Keyblade, but a cool looking one. Roxas, in light of your excellent performance, we have decided to award you a new rank. Consart it! That means there's new stuff in the store. Another slot releaser. Can now buy ether, mega ethers. It's pretty sweet. Do you have any new Champion Gear Plus? So that's what we currently have, but better. You ever do a thing and regret doing the thing? Oh well. The completionist and you hates timers. Ooh. Yeah, look at that. So that is 85 strength. This has 65. I still think this is a really cool leveling up and item management system that could be used in really interesting ways. Can I ask? Absolutely. If it's outside my wheelhouse, I may not be able to answer, but... I have no idea what's going on in this room, but I'll keep an open mind. That's fair. I mean, depart as soon as you're ready. I'm not gonna give you permission one way or another to kick your dad. That's gonna be a you decision. Are flagellants a sanctioned sort of thing of Catholicism? I realize they're more common in other parts of the world. So there is a history in the Catholic Church, especially sort of in, I'd say, the medieval to the Renaissance era of self-flagellation. It's generally something the church goes, hey, yeah, we've done this historically, but it may not be the best sort of biologically or safety-wise, so just be cautious about that. But there's room to talk about controlling one's passions through mortifications. Actually, a really interesting example. It's not flagellant exact. It's not like self-whipping, but it was very common for priests to actually wear what's known as a hair shirt. It was literally a like undershirt made of horsehair, so it'd be coarse and itchy, and so you'd wear it underneath your shirt. So but you'd be constantly uncomfortable as a form of penance. I personally don't find those physical kind of penances useful to me, but I've met other people who that kind of physical fasting works for them. It's like, okay, it's a big wide world. Don't entirely get it. So, yeah, it does sound awful, but it's rooted in a lot of spirituality and psychology of the day that we don't necessarily support or continue to propose. Spain's actually probably the biggest place you'll find it, because they have like the whole order of penitence thing that they still have during like Lent. But so historically, yes. Modern wise, probably not going to find too many. I wonder if anyone else signed up. Welcome to the games. Am I seeing things, rookie? Is that you? Huh? Oh, hey. I haven't seen you in ages. How are ya? It posted a message that got auto-modded. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I don't know. Yeah, modern self-flagellation is more things like cold showers, fasting, not actual physical self-harm. Oh, are you Spanish, Heart of Mithril? Está bien. I'm hanging in there. Yeah, I was just thinking of like the Good Friday like outfits and processions. It doesn't like the word that indicates that you scratch yourself. From Madrid. Very nice. I have never been to Spain, but I would love to go. I'd personally love to do the Camino de Santiago and then go down to Seville because my confirmation saint is buried there. Starts with I and ends with itchy. That is weird. Twitch auto mod is bizarre sometimes. Because sometimes it usually just holds those messages and I can allow it, but sometimes it's like, no, this word is verboten. That's good, because your fantasy act you pulled at the end of the last games had me worried. I'm sorry. Well, I figured you must have pulled through. No lousy Hollis is going to wipe the floor with one of my boys. Seville is beautiful. That's good to hear. I'd love to go someday. Speaking of which, when were you planning on telling me you weren't the guy Herc sent? Well, you'd have just listened. This whole time I thought you were the jam-stop pick. Okay, let's start over, Roxas. Where you really from? Who sent you? Say no more. I get the picture. You do? Sure, everybody's got a thing or two they want to keep hush-hush. Forget it. Doesn't matter. Let me get to the good news. Oh yeah? What good news? The games are being held again today. You got perfect timing, kid. You want in? This time you might even walk home with the title. But you sure you don't mind? Sure, I'm sure. Just give me a holla when you're set. Yeah, I mean, it's simulated, but it's a very visceral. James Earl Jones is dead at 93. Okay. Oh, wow. God rest his soul. Eternal rest grant unto him, O Lord. May the perpetual light of your face shine upon him. It is sad. But he leaves behind a good legacy. 93 is a good age. Okay, this thing has a weird aerial combo where it does this dive down every time. Which, if I'm attacking a bunch of ground enemies, is fine. But if I want to stay in the air, it's a little more obnoxious. No, I did the wrong thing. I meant to do it for Raga. Okay, so long as this healing circle is active, I cannot cast another spell. That's obnoxious. That's the power of the Keyblade. Wait. Oh no. I'm supposed to fire back at these guys. I mean, good on them for trying to make the Colosseum more interesting than just doing a fight after fight after fight. Okay, I dodge rolled. I dodge rolled. I got stuck on the geometry. Switch launcher? Oh my gosh. They predicted the Switch like a decade before it ever even came out. Cool. Getting Sunlocked. You love it. Excuse me, this is my healing circle. How did he hit me with the level down debuff? He didn't even touch me. So confused. Almost got him. And he's almost got me. Fortunately, I still have high potions. Attaboy, Roxas. That's what I like to see. You must have been sticking to your training while you were gone. Trust me, kid, it shows. Keep up those workouts and you're gonna get a lot stronger. I will. Good. Now I gotta head back inside to get ready for the next match, but, what? Oh, nothing. Well, alright then. I'm gonna go. Hey, Roxas! Yeah? Don't be a stranger. What? He wants me to come back? For what? More training? Huh. Weird. Oh well, the mission's done. Time to go grab Axel and see if we can find Shion. Oh, Roxas, you're such a cinnamon roll. It's no use. We're never gonna find her. You sure there's in some place you're forgetting to check? I could use a cinnamon roll. Wait, a cinnamon roll sounds really good right now, actually. I've been everywhere I know how to get to. Hello from under the car! Does this mean we're on car talk? Right. The only place I haven't looked is Castle Oblivion. Shion was asking about it, remember? The day before she disappeared, she said she was put on an important mission. Yeah, but that place has been cleaned out, man. There's nothing there. Shion might be there. You know, that's where she comes from. Castle Oblivion. What? Really? That's probably why she was asking about it. I had no idea. Hey, neither did I. I only found out about it a little while ago myself. She must have a lot of questions. Poor Shion. Day 297. The imposter has been sighted again. Imposter? You mean the one that Shion? He's prowling about Castle Oblivion as we speak. Castle Oblivion? I'll go. Not by yourself, you won't. This target is extremely dangerous. Then how about I tag along? I know CO better than anyone else in this outfit. Alright, better. Go then and teach this fraud the price for wearing our coat. Need to restock my high potions. I had no reason to look at the Moogle shop. I don't know why I did that. CO, huh? Asking you shall receive. I've reassigned you to Castle Oblivion for the day. Axel will be accompanying you. It's interesting that it doesn't give me the mission screen like something else. Dad says I have a soothing voice. I've been told I have a radio voice. It's a good thing I also have a face for radio. So, this is Castle Oblivion. Roxas? Ah, my head! Hey, easy, man. Come on. Let's retreat for now and... No. We have to find Shion. What's happening? What am I fighting for? Roxas! All these pictures rushing into my head. We're leaving. Now. No, wait. There's something I can almost... And then he passed out.
Giving up already? I thought you were stronger than that.
Riku! Oh, you okay there? What happened to me? You collapsed right inside the castle doors. Don't you remember? Remember going in. That's it. Hey, you should take a breather. I'm fine. I need to go back to CO. I don't think so. Who's there? Oh, hi, Shion. Shion, wait! Get out of the way! Hey! Roxas, wait up! Don't care about the Heartless, those are distractions. Stupid teleporting Riku. Wait. Oh, they just keep respawning. That's good. Oh no, Bars, it's not like you've been able to teleport everywhere. Thought the imposter was sighted in Castle Oblivion. What's he doing here? Shion. Ain't no way that was Shion. The other one was the one who escaped before? But I don't get it. Why would she run from me? It was Riku all along. You want to go back? Why would she do that? At least we know she's safe. She'll come home when she's ready. But won't they turn her into a dusk? Not necessarily. Who was that guy she was with? Why is she cooperating with him? Who indeed? You're ordering me to what? Tell me what choice is left now that Shion has had contact with that man in the black coat. Axel? What do I have? We just got that high jump thing, but I don't know if I even have panels to link to it to make it worthwhile. Okay, Axel's just gonna be all quiet in the corner. You did it! You got the oil line on! Hey, that's sweet, and that's essential. Shion has betrayed us. What? No! You saw the creature consorting with that imposter. What more evidence do you need? When we first played Kingdom Hearts 2, I missed nearly all the movement options because I just like Wisdom Form. Oops. That's not evidence. Who knows why she was with him? I think we all know, and you just don't want to accept it. You might be forcing her. Huh. Spare me your repulsive displays of would-be sentiment. It's not a display. Why is it such a crime to give each other the benefit of the doubt? The imposter has resurfaced in Twilight Town. Go and destroy him, Roxas, like I expected you to do yesterday. Axel, you bring Shion back, gagged and tied up for all I care. If that proves too troublesome, then you are authorized to adopt a more permanent solution. What? Sykes, no! Get going. This is pretty icky, huh? You're not actually gonna follow these orders. Relax, I'll think of something clever once I find her. You just worry about yourself, huh? That guy in the coat didn't look like the type to go down without a fight. I know. AP Tony. So, despite the name, it is not a fraction. So if I come back here, you'll see on the smaller screen directly below me in the corner it says day 298. So the title is 358 over 2 days. What it is it's 358 days over the course of two characters' lives, those being Roxas and Shion. So it's just a particular way of formatting it. To be stylish, I guess. Yeah, it's really 358 times 2 days. You can tell we're getting close, too, because they were day 298 of, 358, and we keep jumping through days. We might actually be able to finish this next week. I forget how many things there are in the last day, or the last section. Math is hard. Wonder how long it takes them to maintain their haircuts. There's a secret member of the organization who's just really good at haircuts. Just their magic is controlling hair gel. I don't know if I like this Keyblade. It's kind of slow. It's powerful, but... Oh, I heard about him. His name is Zerber. Yeah, so you understand. I know what you're complaining about all the time when you were playing Kingdom Hearts 2 with Blot. You have it figured out. I know, it was Shion I saw yesterday. But who's that guy with her? Why didn't she try to get away from him? Huh? Hey! My brain has assimilated a little Kingdom Hearts brain rot. One of us, one of us. Ah. I guess I could. No. Ah. This is probably the wrong way to do this, but I live here. I'm back here. It's gonna be Shion and not the imposter that I'm beating up on, and it's gonna be all sad. Gotta get some sleep. Alright, you have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you have a better day tomorrow. Buenas noches. Perfect pronunciation? Oh, thank you. I can fake my accent for days. That's why when I say Mass for the nuns, I do it in Spanish, even though I have no idea what the exact words are. Although one of the best Spanish speakers I ever heard was an Irishman. It was so weird. Mass for the Nunez? No. Where did they go? But I knew an Irishman who's a priest, and I was talking to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my next assignment's in Spanish." And it's like, "Oh, you speak Spanish?" And then he just like said something in a flawless accent, and it was just a little mind stripping to hear that from a guy who spoke otherwise with a very thick brogue. The cloaked figure is in my room. Please come quick. That sounds like Jens is just in your room. I was worried they'd actually despawned. Can't be Yensa, she's at work. See? That's how amazing it is.
Where have you been? Axel and I have been looking all over for you.
You have? Sorry.
Let's go home. If you come back voluntarily, Sykes will let all this drop. He has to. I don't care what he said to you. I'll be there. Me and Axel will make sure...
I really can't.
Why not? Come on. Wait!
Well, hello there, Shion.
Axel? No, wait!
I think Axel actually is described as an assassin in his bio in this game. Karate chop!
Shion!
The plot thickens. Blessed Feast of the Nativity of Theotokos to you, Bray Herd. We celebrated on the 8th in the West. Interestingly enough. Axel. Oh, hey, Roxas. Where is she? It's either here or Chain of Memories when talking about what happened in Chain of Memories. Yeah. Safe. How could you do that to her?
Hmm?
Do what? Didn't have to use force. Didn't I? Ah, that's why. Okay. No, of course not. We're supposed to be best friends. This isn't about friendship. If that's all, I gotta go. If that's all... Day 299. Sora! Almost sound like
You're
Goofy.
sure things are better this way?
I never expected you to question it. If you could save one of them, why would you choose the puppet? Or put it this way, which would you rather suffer the loss of? Some make-believe friendship? Or a real one? Things are finally right again. Of
Well, Meep is
course
here to
we're
comfort
better off this
Axel.
way. Xemnas is exasperated from all the fixing we've had to do. We have to set things right. There's simply too much on the line, Lee.
Shion? Why would I know where she is?
Have you seen Shion? I wasn't aware she had returned. So you haven't seen her around? That is generally what wasn't aware she had returned means, yes. Doesn't anybody know what happened to her? Yes, his name is Axel. Unless he does. Oh! No, we're just going straight to the top. I need to ask you something. And what would that be? What happened to Shion? Can you tell me? Put your mind at ease. Shion is a valued member of the organization, but she needs her rest.
Sora.
Sora. Who is Sora? He's the connection. The what? He is what makes you and Shion a part of each other's lives. Just as he is the reason I placed Shion among our number. And if you want her to stay that way, I must insist you get your mind off these needless distractions. I will have Shion return to her duties tomorrow. Today, you must focus on yours. All right. Hey, Roxas. I mean, not entirely wrong. But yeah, now we know that Sykes and Axel know each other from before. Huh, you take care of your equipment right, kiddo? It's about time you had a reasonable weapon. Come show me once you have one with 4 or more units installed. You mean like the one I have? Now that's a weapon. Looks like you're keeping up the curve here. I was worried you'd gone soft that someone's back, but you're doing okay. Obtained gold. He just gave me a gold bar. Just to fret it over something so insignificant I can understand Xemnas. Mel has redeemed a father joke. My father jokes are buried behind Tahine gummy bears. I know summer's over with the passing of Labor Day, but you know, Still always a good time to be had at the beach. It's a shore thing. If you have time to mope, then you have time to work. Can I get that on a bumper sticker? If you have time to mope, then you have time to work. Focus, Roxas. Destroy the shadow globs! I love it to hate it. That's a good joke to hate. CP Tony is a man of class. If you have time to mope, you have time to grab. Laura at Labora, time to mope, time to work. I mean, not all prayer is moping, but, you know, it's valid. Oh, hello, Shadow Glob. Me waking up. Time for my morning mope! What, isn't that everyone? What do you mean that's a me only thing? Oh, it's a royal me. Oh, okay, good. I tried to mope before bed. It helps me sleep. Oh. Everyone's included in this mope. This mope is dope. That's a big bird. I don't feel like fighting it. Because I think the rest of these are on the ship. My wife does not understand how I can just shut off my brain to sleep. I don't understand how you can do that. I wish I could do that. Just like, go to sleep. No! This has been an unusually long stream. I am now leaving the office. I wonder if the stream will be going when at my desk at home. So it's going to go till 6 o'clock on Mondays now. So RPG Monday is still 3 hours, but starting at the new 3 o'clock time. Camera, please. You envy it? I envy it. It takes me like an hour to fall asleep. And that's with sleep medication. Okay, I think those are spawn infinitely, so we're gonna leave. I'd like to be able to find this last Shadow Glob because we're so close to the bonus. That's probably back at the rocks, and I don't know how much I feel like looking for all over that. I'll give it one last look. Oh, there it is. It's clipping through that rock over there. That makes it easy to find. Okay, now we vamos. Are you certain we've taken suitable measures with Xion and Roxas? I will admit Xion has strayed from our original designs, but this unpredictable behavior is proving to have an interesting side effect. Really? We want the key. Xion's exposure to Roxas affected a transfer of power, just as we had hoped. Had things stopped there, Xion would have been an unequivocal success. But then, through Roxas, Sora himself began to shape it into her, giving Xion a sense of identity. I was ready to scrap the whole project. Then it occurred to me, Xion is keeping Sora's memories trapped by claiming them as her own. Keeping her close to Roxas will prevent Sora from ever waking. I see. And what do you want to do about the imposter in black? That's Gadfly. See that he stays away from Roxas. He only poses a threat if his buzzing reaches Xion's ears. Then we are back on track. Riku, what should I do? Yeah, level up. Day 300. Shutdown. Depart as soon as you are ready. Eliminate the Phantom Tail. Okay. Don't know what that is, but sure. That's the ship. Got you! There's those guys.
I finally clipped your pestering little wings, eh, Tinkerbell? Serves you right for buzzing around in my business. Planning to interfere with me treasure hunt, were you? Well, change of plans. Shmi, we're returning to the ship. I'm right behind you, Captain. There now, Miss Belle. Be a good little pixie for us, won't you?
Why do I have the Keyblade? I don't have a Keyblade. Tinkerbell. Or why does Roxas have a Keyblade? Is that her name? That got her? I have to help her. Because you're asking why Roxas has one. I feel like we've already answered that. It's because Sora's nobody. But she doesn't really have anything to do with the mission. So what? I'm going. She helped me fly before. All I did was keep blowing her off. I can worry about today's mission once I know she's safe. Oh, I've lost the ability to fly. I'm out of pixie dust.
Confound this useless map!
But Captain, are you sure you want to tear it up like that?
Aye, we checked this one the other day. It's worthless.
If you say so, sir.
Set a course, Mr. Shmee. Take us to the next treasure spot.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Sounds like they're inside.
But sir, do you really think it's worth the trouble? We've done a good bit of digging already. All we found is pieces of junk and them heartless creatures.
Stop whining, Shmee, and think. Why were there so many maps? I'll tell you why. Whoever buried the treasure made fake maps to lead me astray and protect the real hiding spot.
Oh, then one of these maps is sure to be real, right?
Aye, and the only way to know which one it is to follow all of them. The Heartless must have been planted at the marked spots as guard dogs. Well, no one outwits Captain Hook. That treasure's mine! Mine, mine, mine! Now get a move on, Shmee.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh, Hook. You lost your soul to the Heartless, and then when you came back, you're like, I'll do it again.
Oh, but what about Tinkerbell?
Let her get acquainted with a new home, that lamp. Look lively, Mr. Shmee.
Okay, the coast is clear. The plot has happened. We can move in. Just a minute. I'll get you out of there. I'm glad you're okay. You can take care of yourself from here, right? I should get going. Hand was cramping? Oof. Huh? Is there something else? This must be a piece of that map that they were talking about. He really shredded it. Sorry, but I don't know what you're trying to tell me. There's a spot marked on this map piece. What map piece? Everywhere they dug, Heartless popped out. And they've been digging based on these maps. Maybe I'll find more Heartless if I check the spots. Hey, could you help me fly again? I need to go look at the spot marked on on this map. Thanks. I should really get back to my mission now. Be careful with those guys, that those guys don't nab you again, okay? Visit suspiciously marked spots on the map. Oh boy. Oh, well, that's a spot, I guess. Call me late to the game. Hey, it's all good. Good to see you, Nana Kit. This is one of those one chests that kept digging up. Let's see what kind of Heartless pop up. Maybe it's the one I'm after. How was Rotata? I thought it was good. We talked about Peter Claver. Huh? Nothing? Oh, are they not connected? But then why do Heartless always appear when they dig up the chests? Unless it's him, that guy in red. Or maybe he's connected to the Heartless. Only one way to find out. Let's see what those two guys are up to.
Keep digging, Mr. Shmee. Aye, sir.
Ah, it's the Heartless I'm looking for.
What? Another Heartless? What do we do, Captain?
This one looks formidable. Run, Shmee!
Running, sir.
Ah, okay, this is not the Keyblade to do aerial combat with. That just teleported in a weird way. Cool, cool. I guess those missed. Why is so much of the magic so hard to use in this game? Like that, like... And there, I think it just hit the ceiling and disappeared. Cool. Quit teleporting! 'Cause the problem is when it teleports that first time, I don't even get to count it as a hit. So it's only if it respawns somewhere where I can hit it on the downstroke. Okay, we're at its last health bar. Quit getting hit, Roxas. Get in there and hit it with a fire. No! It teleported out of the way of the fireball? That is cheating. There we go. So it was him. He must be what's throwing all these Heartless. I'm not sure why, but I guess that's a question for another day.
Why, that's strange. The hole they dug here, plain as day, but not a Heartless in sight. Aw, pirates, Greedy ought to have a Heartless for miles here by now. Or somebody must be going around and taking them out. Whoever it is, they're ruining my perfect plan. This calls for a new strategy.
It was Pete all along.
I'll give that pirate something he's really greedy about. Then I'll summon a big whopper of a Heartless.
And Shion? But no one's talking. Oh no. What has happened? It's Sora. His memory has stopped. Stopped? Unless something is done, he'll never wake from his slumber. Then so be it. The gloves must come off. But what'll happen to... Those nobodies have no business existing in the first place. As you know fully well, Naminé, you have no business existing either. We'll handle that later. Yes. Another level tripler. Let's go. Day 301. Vacant place. Okay, so that's where we're going to call it for the day. If we don't beat this next time, then the time after we certainly will, because we only have 57 days left. And again, we've seen how we kind of jump forward in several of them. So, should be good, but yeah. But thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with you again for an RPG Monday. It's been a bit of a while since we've had one, but it's good to be back. Join us again tomorrow for more. So what's after this? After 358, we're going to be doing Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger. Classic JRPG on the Super Nintendo. One of my faves. Great music. Looking forward to playing it. But yeah, but tomorrow, join us again at 3 o'clock Eastern Time for Spirituality Tuesday. We're going to be playing more 5, Guardians of David. More midweek Minecraft on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we're going to be doing a little Roller Coaster Tycoon for fun for the rest of September. So yeah, so that should be fun. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, for liking, sharing, subscribing, giving bits, checking out the YouTube, checking out the Discord, all that good jazz. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Why don't we see whose live we can raid into? Gonna raid on into Halcyon Ward. I feel like we haven't raided into him for a hot moment. And Mel, you'll be happy to hear this. He's playing Monster Hunter World. It looks like he's got a big sword on his back, but then again, that's how I would describe all the weapons in Monster Hunter, so I don't know. But raid call's got to be Father Raid. Spam the Meat Morp if you've got it. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Oh, you want to play with him? Nice. Anyway, hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Take care, and God bless.